Good morning, everyone. Welcome to True North. How is everyone? For those of you who do not know, True North is a audio and video podcast focused on overcoming adversity and pursuing our purpose. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to share with you some strategies. Every day is a different topic. Every day I have a recommended book that I've read. And I'm hoping to bring on some amazing guest speakers in the upcoming weeks. Thinking about my list. If you're interested in being a guest speaker, would love to have you. Please reach out to me. You can find me on renatamarino.com and go to my contact page, and you will be able to request a guest appearance. Today is a great topic. Today, I want to talk about the art of bragging. I coined the term the art of bragging for several reasons. First of all, I do believe I want to discuss it separately for what that means for women and what that means for men. And it's two completely different strategies. The art of bragging is two completely different strategies for women and for men. And this is reflected in both personal and professional relationships. I honestly believe that there is an art to how we speak highly of ourselves. And what I mean by that is it's reflective in the types of relationships that we enter, both personally and professionally. The trust that we develop in both our personal and professional relationships, the leadership and career success that's impacted based on our demeanor and how we speak highly of ourselves. It is a skill that oftentimes takes a lot of life experience to figure out how should we speak highly of ourselves. And again, it has different meaning for women and men. The reason why I want to talk about this subject is yesterday I had a meeting with a female founder. So I'm an investor in female-founded startups, and for the past 7 years, I've advised numerous female founders on scaling their businesses, strategies, customer acquisition, all different things. And one of the most common trends I see is women, entrepreneurs, having difficulty standing in their power and talking highly of themselves. I'm not saying they're not talking. I'm not saying they're not talking highly of themselves. I'm saying halfway through the conversation, an hour conversation, we're half hour into the conversation, and I find out that they have their PhD in, science nutrition. And I said, hey, if you had told me this, I said I was about to end the conversation because I didn't think you had the expertise to actually be a founder in the food category. Why didn't you tell me this the first minute of our call? And so yesterday, this woman, I've been working with her for about a year. I'm on her board. I have invested in her company and want to continue to invest in her company. She I was telling her how much of a badass she is. And again, it's like coaching. It is coaching. Being an advisor is also coaching, and an investor is coaching. And so she said to me, Renata, this is what she said, Renata, I was telling her where I am in what I'm doing from the venture side. And she said, wow, incredible. I need to do a better. Now, she's probably half my age. No, maybe a little like close, maybe a little more than half my age, or a little more. But she says, I need to do a better job speaking, highlighting myself. I said, my feedback was, you have to do it earlier. Because when she's pitching to investors, when she's pitching to team members, when she's leading a team, or anyone, there is an art to bragging. So I think one of the most important things, I always talk about this, is humbled confidence. And I don't believe that women have a problem being humble at all. I think we were, as little girls, I don't know if it has to do with Miss Manners or social etiquette, but traditionally speaking, most of us were raised to be humble, to be polite, please and thank you. Most of us as women, that was heavily emphasized. Traditionally is normally heavily emphasized for young girls growing up. I don't know what it is now, but when I was a little girl, this was heavily emphasized. Don't answer back, all the Miss Manners. And speaking for me personally, I was raised with don't answer back, which means, you do what you're told. Answering back means standing up for, and now as an adult, I'm recognizing that, and as a parent, and this is a very common theme, and I don't know if other parents agree with me or if they experience the same thing, but there comes a point in time in a child's life where the parent is the parent. However, the child needs to become their own person and has to be their own self-advocate. And I think when you're raised in a free zone where you can actually self-advocate for yourself, I don't want to do the play date, or I don't want to go to the, whatever it is. I think being a parent and listening and letting the child have a voice is critical to future confidence and speaking highly of yourself. And unfortunately for women, and a lot of my female founders in Blazing Babes, which is a community of female founders, we do workshops on this. How do you do your pitch? How do you speak highly of yourself? What is the art of bragging? What is the nice way to speak highly of yourself? How do you stand in your power? How do you advocate for yourself? This is critical skills for women. Critical skills for women. So coaching women on how to do this appropriately, effectively, standing in their power is huge for career success. Whether you're a founder, whether you're trying to raise capital, whether you're trying to motivate your team, whether you're interviewing for a job, whether you're, in corporate. And some of us takes a long time to get there, to learn how to do that. And usually that comes with life experience. But it's our job to coach and teach and mentor the younger generation of women of how to stand in their power. So, I think for women, we don't have a bullying complex. We're not here to bully anyone. We lead with empathy. I think a lot of women lead with empathy, sympathy, empathy, understanding, collaboration. These are skills that traditionally female leaders naturally evokes from within. Lots of empathy. We bring our whole selves to the table. And I think that's a really great strength. That's why I invest in one of the many reasons why I invest in female founders, but we really bring our whole selves to the table. But a lot of us shy away from stating the amazing things that we've done. And someone like me, and my story is a little bit different, but it actually does relate. a lot of us are, a lot of women have our own inner critic. We are so critical of ourselves, probably because our mothers were critical of us. And so that mother voice is inside of us. And so a lot of us cannot speak highly of ourselves because their inner voice is saying, oh no, that's not polite. You're bragging about yourself. So we tend to close up and not say anything. And that's wrong. And so, I think practicing in front of the mirror, I think stating, having your own personal statement, I think it's like a pitch. Whether you're a female founder, whether you're an executive, whether you're, and even in your personal life, even in your dating life, personal life, and even being your own self advocate in your own marriage, in your own relationships with friends. Oh, you have to learn to say, you know what, I'm uncomfortable with this, or, for example, or, it took me a long time. And this is somebody who has significant top education, and this is hard for me to even say this at one point. Lots of accolades, lots of successes. And and again, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but because of my upbringing and then because of my marriage, I was in the Rapunzel Tower, where I had all these amazing gifts, amazing talents, amazing accolades, amazing trophies and awards and whatever. And my self-esteem was so diminished, and I was locked away in the tower, unable to actually even leave the tower and speak highly of myself because of my self-worth was eroded. For numerous reasons I don't want to get into, but a lot of women go through this. A lot of women in abusive marriages, control, just really, really, and it's really, really hard to get out of. It is like a entrapment. But building that self-esteem up and that self-worth up takes a lot of work, takes a lot of healing, and takes a lot of introspection. And practicing. I'm going to tell you right this, for me personally, I had to practice. It was very uncomfortable for me to speak highly of myself. I actually, one thing that actually helped me, I'm going to be honest with you, is I started speaking on podcasts on investing in women, diversity and venture capital, and access to capital for female founders. And I had to write my bio. This is actually a really good exercise. I do think it was very empowering for me to find my voice, to be able to learn how to speak highly of myself by redoing my LinkedIn. One of the things about LinkedIn, and because I'm a Booth graduate from 20 years ago, they offer free career services, coaching. And one of the things that we worked on, 2018, the career coach at Booth, was my LinkedIn. The first, it's like a couple paragraphs. It's like the I statement. And apparently I had not looked at I had a decent LinkedIn, but I had not really revamped my LinkedIn in, I don't know, 10 years. And they looked at it and they were like, oh my God, this is all wrong. And there's a whole new thing with LinkedIn. That essay, usually it's just like, it has to be in first person. A lot of people have it in third person. Like it should not be in third person. It should be in first. Because the goal of that statement, let's call it a personal statement, is to get the phone call. It's not a regurgitation of your resume. LinkedIn should not be. It's that one personal statement should be to get the meeting, to get the phone call. You have to lure them in to want to talk to you. So you have to put it in first person. It has to be personal, has to be tied to a lot of your personal life and your professional life. It has to be intertwined. It has to be interesting. People are going to want to talk to you. And your personal life has to relate to your professional life, of why you are the way you are, why you do what you do. And it lures people in to want to get to know you more. And writing that was the first step into me coming into my power to be able to speak highly of myself, to speak with confidence, because I had to believe it. When you write it down, it's pretty much like the 10 Commandments. It's set in stone. The best exercise is doing that personal statement on LinkedIn or any personal statement. But that I'm telling you I'm just thinking back to how did I get to this place of being able to speak highly of myself? It started with that. Then it started with these quick, short bios that I had to give people for podcasts or for articles that they were writing about me. And I actually had to, and I've changed it. It has evolved. I mean, it does evolve as you gain credibility in the marketplace, as you start doing new things. But your personal pitch, let's call it a personal pitch, as a female, your personal pitch is critical to job opportunities, speaking engagement opportunities, and you have to believe it. And it takes time. It takes time to believe, especially if you've had low self-esteem or if you have not been able to speak highly of yourself. And before you write that personal statement, I think looking at a bullet point of all the things you've done. I mean, I started doing that. My therapist, I remember going through therapy in 2018. She told, I'm so hard on myself. Again, I'm my worst critic. I have an inner critic. It's like the voice of my mother. I mean, I'm not trying to throw my mother under the bus, but it's an inner critic. It's being critical of yourself. And typically that comes from your mother or your parents. Trying to heal that. I was just speaking with someone last night about, she said it's because of my mom and my parents. They were high professors, overachievers, and they were really critical to us. And she's African American, a minority, and her parents grew up poor, and they built their wealth, and they wanted the best for their daughters. Again, great intentions for the children, but that inner critic stays with us. So we have to heal that, and we have to overcome that. And a lot of us who are female tend to not boast about ourselves or talk highly of ourselves. We don't talk bad about ourselves. We leave out amazing things about us that are unfreaking believable. And that actually inhibits us from getting opportunities at work, from getting potential funding from an investor, if we're a founder or a startup. In personal relationships, not setting boundaries and not saying, this is what I want. This is how I should be treated, because of that inner critic, because we're like, well, if I say that, then they're not going to like me. Or if I say that, it's too aggressive. It's not too aggressive. You can say it nicely. And I think it's how you say it. So I think that's the secret sauce for women. I think that they feel like if I say that I have my MBA from Chicago, or I have the Gold Award from, the Girl Scouts of America Leadership Gold Award. I have it sounds like I'm listing off and I'm bragging. You're not. Depending on who you're talking to and who the audience is, you need to say why you deserve the job or why you should get the funding. And you say, these are my experience. This is what I did. This is how I've done. If you cannot do that, you're not going to be able to get the opportunities. You're not going to be able to, get the attention from people, just distinguish yourself from others. So this is really for women, really need to practice. And I say that I statement, that personal statement on LinkedIn, that's a good example of writing it, rewriting it, editing it. And you have to, it comes from first person, so you have to believe it. And then even the short bios, if you're going to be speaking, or if someone's like, can you send me your bio? I don't cut and paste the same one. I actually write it from scratch every time I get a new speaking engagement. I think mine are pretty much the same, but I tweak it a little bit. And again, it should be different based on what audience you're speaking to. And you should pull things from your list of accolades that relate to whatever the topic is or whoever the audience is. I think this is really important. This is something that we do with Blazing Babes, our workshops, is coaching and teaching female founders and women how to speak highly of themselves, how to know the audience. And I actually help a lot of female founders with their pitch. What's the story that you're telling? You've got 1 minute, you've got 2 minutes, you've got 3 minutes. Why are you the person to launch this company? What's so great about you? And what's the story? Is this how does this personally relate to you? And I think knowing the audience, captivating them, and being able to speak highly of yourself. Like this woman that I've been coaching and I'm an investor in, you know, I said to her, I said, I didn't even know you had a PhD in science nutrition. How did we work with each other for almost a year? And I said, is that in your deck? You need to say that. She's like, I need you to coach me. And I said, you know, when I was younger, it was hard for me. I think it comes with experience. It comes with knowing if you don't speak up highly of yourself, the repercussions of that, especially for women. So this is one of my goals in life, is to help coach other women, younger women, even women my age, older women, doesn't matter, but speak highly of yourself, because opportunities can be missed, and you should be treated with respect. And a lot of times when you do not speak highly of yourself, when I say you do not mention that you have the MBA, that you have a scholarship, you received a scholarship, that you did an ultra marathon or whatever it is, when you shy away from that, you typically, and you leave it out, and it shouldn't be this way, but especially in a very male dominated industry or male dominated world, no one's going to talk to you. And I'm going to speak from when I was first entering the venture capital space several years ago, 4 years ago, my confidence was down. So I didn't even know how to state my strengths. So I was just a sponge. I was just learning and absorbing, but no one really knew all these amazing accolades because I didn't even have the self-confidence at that time to be able to speak highly of myself. That took a couple years for me to, again, write that I statement, write the bios, start speaking publicly. It's been an evolution for me of building back up self-worth, but it's my job to share my story of what happened to me and how I built back up my self-confidence. And now that I can speak highly of myself. And quite honestly, I'm going to say this. The people out there, men or women, who think that you're bragging, if they say to you, well, you seem to really know what, this happened to me. This actually happened to me. I was pitching to a senior woman who was very well known in the financial markets. And I was warned before by one of my investment advisors that she is slightly abrasive. And when he said this to me before I actually had the call with her, I was like, yeah, I got this. And not knowing what I was getting involved in. And when we had the call, she must have done research on me. She read my LinkedIn. She probably saw my new website that I spent, a year on, my personal website, which I believe is such a it states everything, but again, and she's probably closer to 70, so old school. But again, this is a generational thing too. The first thing she said to me, she's like, well, you really are into yourself. Guys, I'm supposed to be pitching what I'm doing to her, and she's a big financial person in the financial markets, like a bigwig. And I was nervous already, and I was forewarned. I didn't really know what my investment advisor meant when he said, she can be abrasive. And so I'm telling you, this stuff happens to me every so often, and I'm not good at the response. I'm not good at thinking quick on my feet. I can't remember what I said. I think actually I did say something. I did stand in my power, because the tone that was coming at me without even me starting was already kind of aggressive. So I had my pitch that I was going to say. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm not going to do that. So I kind of just let her take the lead and just listened. And I think it's a generational thing. I do think it could be a power trip too. I don't know. She's probably, the way I saw it, because I'm an empath, is I don't think she's a very happy woman. She's very smart and successful, but I don't think she's very happy. But I'm not her therapist. I was pitching. So after I let her have the floor and I listened to what she had to say about me, and I hadn't even said anything. She's just reading about me. I mean, I've been in the media, I've been in the press, I've been Fitness Magazine, I've worked so hard as a founder. I mean, the past 10 years, since 2008, 9, whatever, do the math. And I'm like, I mean, my email to her wasn't even anything about myself. I was like, she's like, send me the agenda of what you want to talk about. And I gave her 3 bullet points. I said, I would like to talk about this, this, and this, and that's it. Here's a link to my website. Here's my LinkedIn. Thank you for your time. Thank you in advance for your time. And so I let her have the floor because she just came at me like, oh, and because again, I had to backpedal. I was like, oh, okay, my pitch, I need to readjust based on what just happened. And after she said her piece, I was let me just state one thing. My heart was racing a million miles. I thought my heart was all up here. I mean, obviously I was just listening and smiling, but I want everyone to know that I had major tachycardia. And my heart was up here. I was like, and in my mind I wasn't saying this, but I was sweating. I probably had sweat under my armpits. I was like, in my mind, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Sorry. What's happening? And why am I sweating? And I can't believe this is happening. But I just internally was doing my meditation breathing. And I kind of knew that this wasn't, I'm like, okay, she's going to say no for my pitch. I already knew. But I was like, let's not be negative. And after she said her thing, my response was, well, I really, I didn't say I've been through a lot. I really know who I am and what I want. After what she said to me in response, and I had not even opened my mouth, I was about to pitch. The call was for me to pitch to this well-known woman in the financial markets. I had my pitch down pat. I knew what I was going to say about myself. I knew what I was going to highlight about what I was doing. And I was about to open my mouth, and the first thing that came out of her mouth was, wow, you really are into yourself. And again, I had to really backpedal. And my heart was racing up in my throat. And I hadn't even opened my mouth. I hadn't even sent her an email about it was just, here's the agenda. Here's what we're talking about. And after her researching me, this is the statement she made. Again, different generation, much, much older. How do you respond to that as a female on female? After I sat back and listened to what she had to say, I let her have the floor. And my response was, when she had asked again, my response was, I really know who I am, and I know what I want. So as women, whether we're pitching or talking to a male or a senior female or a junior female who's more experienced than us, it is really critical to stand in our power, stand in our truth, know who we are, know what we want, know what we're good at, know what we're not good at. Now, as a female, there's nothing. First, you need to practice saying what you're good at and all your accolades and why you are the way you are, what you've done and why you've done it, and what are your skills. It's really critical. This is male or female, to also know what your weaknesses are, because that's a level of humility. So you're not going to go out there and say, "Oh, I'm good at everything," because we all know no one's good at everything. But a great leader, a great person who knows how to speak highly of themselves also knows what their weaknesses are and can state them clearly, male or female. So let's just talk about men. Now, again, most men, and this has a lot to do with how they're raised, have a really hard time. Most men, not all men. I can literally name men, leaders out there who are incredibly humble. It's called humble confidence. So they are confident in in what they offer, what they bring to the table. And again, these are men who have done a lot of introspection, who have significant maturity, significant personal growth. Lots of them have life experience, but I do know younger men that are very mature. I do believe it has a lot to do with how they were raised, the support they had as children, quite honestly. I know 25-year-olds that are more mature than a 43 or 44 or 45-year-old. It's incredible. It's incredible. And I always say to them, like, oh my God, can I meet your parents? Because this is unbelievable. Unbelievable. But again, you know, it's based on experience. It's based on how you were raised. It's based on a lot of different variables, what you've been through. And we all mature and we all grow at different times in our life. Look at what happened with me. We all do. So I think the art of bragging when it comes to men, and this is personal relationships, like if you're meeting a female or a partner, or professional relationships when you're leading or you're on social media or you're speaking on stage or in a podcast or what have you, is a level of humble confidence. And what I mean by that is, yes, stating your accolades, yes, stating your achievements, but also saying, I'm open to learning. These are the areas, again, it's understanding what your weaknesses are, being open to learning, and but still stating this is what I'm good at. This is what I'm really good at. These are the areas that I want to learn more about. I think men, when they come to the table with a level of humble confidence, they gain significant buy-in from their teammates, from employees, from their followers, from their relationships, from partners, from all the people coming up in the pipeline before them. When men come to the table with a level of humble confidence, they gain trust and loyalty with all the people around them. What happens is when the confidence comes from the ego, it's a level of insecurity. It's clearly seen. And you attract the wrong people. And the trust isn't there. The loyalty isn't there. You gain a lot more trust and loyalty with your employees, with your people, and again, this is men and women, but men need to come out of their ego and more into the humble confidence. And I actually saw this when I was 26 years old. I worked in tech at Reebok. I actually reported to the CEO of Reebok at the time. This was when Reebok was in Massachusetts. I don't know if they're still there now, but they had an amazing campus. It was probably one of the best jobs I've ever had. I had just left investment banking at State Street Capital in Boston, and I transitioned to work on a cross-functional team on a stealth tech project, which was an online footwear customization project. We were competing against Nike ID, where you could customize your shoes. This was before they had phones. This had like a kiosk. You get your foot scanned at at Foot Locker in the back, and you get and then you go on the kiosk, you customize your shoe, and then 2 weeks later you get a customized form-fitted shoe, whether you're a runner, whether it's just for style. You can put your name on the shoe. That's what the project I was bringing the financial aspect to the team, and I was reporting to the CEO at the time, and he was a turnaround CEO because Reebok was going downhill at the time. They were doing all these layoffs. They were laying everyone off, and everyone's walking out of the building with boxes. I'm walking in with a box. So Carl Yankowski, he was the former, I think, CEO of 3M. He's a turnaround CEO. He was known in the marketplace for a turnaround. 3M, I think he maybe worked for 3M. But he was known as a turnaround CEO. Now, I honestly relish in turnaround CEOs. Do you want to know why? You know how hard it is to be a turnaround CEO when you actually are brought into the company to lift the spirits of the employees and turn around the company. It's not just about like, let's clean up the books. Let's like do cost cutting. It's not like that. It's, I need to quickly gain trust with the employees. How am I going to do that? What strategy am I going to use? How am I going to gain their trust quickly while we're laying off everyone? That requires a level of humble confidence. That requires a level of let's get down to the people's level. Let's not come from our high horse and beating my chest and saying how amazing I am, kiss my ass. That's coming down to the level of the people, getting down to their level, talking to them about their families, understanding that they have to bring food on the table, getting down, saying this is going to be the plan. We're going to have HR meet with you. We're going to have you play. I mean, this is gaining trust with the people. There has to be a plan. When I went into Reebok, and it was my first week there, they had a town hall meeting off campus at some high school. And I remember sitting in the audience. I was 26 years old. Carl Yankowski was on stage. The entire auditorium was full of employees from Reebok. And I can't remember where I was sitting, somewhere on the ground floor. I remember it was dark. And I felt like it was like Apple with, literally. He's on stage solo with the mic, talking about the layoffs, talking about how he was going to turn around the company, talking about why more people are going to be let go. I literally was flabbergasted. I literally couldn't believe the job. I was 26. I couldn't believe, I felt very guilty being there. I almost was like hiding in my chair. I'm like, people don't know me. Why is she here? How did she get hired? We're laying everyone off. Why is she hired? But I was listening attentively, mesmerized by what was coming out of his mouth. Talking about families, talking about helping, talking about, we're going to help you place you with jobs, talking about the plan of action to get the company back in order. Step by step process. It wasn't just talking. He had a PowerPoint slide. It wasn't all bullshit. It was really getting down to the level of people. He had a level of humble confidence that I have never seen in a leader before, ever. I mean, I was 26, so I'd only been in banking, investment banking. You think there's humble confidence in the partners in investment banking? That was one of the greatest experiences in terms of leadership, understanding, seeing a man. And now, the only other man that I know who has humble confidence is my father. And so seeing a leader do this, I mean, I just graduated from college, I didn't see much. And I went to an all-girls middle school and high school. So I didn't see much about leadership in men. And I only had my dad and then the partners in investment bank, which was like, oh my God. They were not humble confidence. It's all about beating chests and, their way or the highway. Again, I'm not saying all investment banks. I'm saying mine. There was maybe one partner that I actually thought was pretty good, but I didn't work for him. Men or women, by the way, because I remember there was a female partner at the bank I worked that did not have humble confidence. So it can be women too. I should make sure there's the caveat, but generally speaking. So I was literally starstruck by Carl Yankowski at the time. I thought he was the greatest gift. I mean, this was the way he handled himself at that meeting and what he did for the company was incredible. And I almost felt like he was like a celebrity. And I remember, I'm going to end on this and we'll do cards. I remember I was going to San Francisco to do some market research on scanning technology. This was in 1999. 1999, which by the way, they didn't call it tech back then, they called it .com. And I remember I had to go to the airport to Logan. And so we remember they said, okay, you're going to get picked up. There's going to be a car that's getting picked up. I found out that Carl he lived in the same town, Dover, Mass. I don't know if he still lives there. And I was living at home with my parents and I was 26. And I remember saying, Carl's going to the airport too. He will be in the car with you. I rode from Dover, Mass to Logan. What is that? 40 minutes, maybe a half hour with Carl Yankowski. After he did this whole speech, I was like shaking in my boots. I didn't know what to say to him. I think I did say how impressed I was. At the time, I said, I just want you to know, I thought that was a really challenging thing for you to do. I don't know how you did it, but it was really impressive. I think that's what I said. And I wasn't trying to, kiss his ass, but I was literally like, I didn't know what else to say. But I will always remember that. And I think as leaders, as men and women who are leaders, I think leaving great impressions for the younger generation is huge and how we handle ourselves. And so that level of humble confidence that came from him, I love seeing that in men who are leaders. I see that a lot. Certain men that and when I see it, it makes me feel at ease. It makes me feel proud to know them, proud to follow them. So I encourage more men to have the level of humble confidence. And again, it's not weakness. It's actually a sign of strength. And you gain a lot of credibility and trust and loyalty with the people in your life, the people who want to follow you and look up to you. And with women, I think that really it's essential for us, I'm speaking from personal experience, to stand in our power and to say why we deserve to be sitting at the table. And it requires saying our strengths. And I'm not great at it. I'm better because I'm building back up what was diminished over time. And it's okay. It's okay. And I catch myself sometimes, and I'm sure people will admit this, where it may come across as boasting, but I think, I'm learning a happy medium. And I don't want to not state what I've done because I've worked very hard. And I think a lot of people who claim that you're boasting, they're just insecure and they need to stand in their power. And so I think our response should be, you should stand in your power. We're all not perfect. We all have our weaknesses. Admitting your weakness is great, but stating what you're really good at is critical. And I will say this for all women, do not dim your light to make others more comfortable. A lot of us are badasses. A lot of us have had to work really hard to get to where we are. And you should not be, if other people are uncomfortable that you're standing in your power and that you're stating your truth and that you've done all these wonderful things, don't shy away from stating those wonderful things to make other people more comfortable. And that includes family members, close friends. There's nothing wrong with evolving. There's nothing wrong with standing in your truth. This is very important. You're not better than anyone. You're just being yourself. And you deserve the credit. We all deserve the credit. So I hope that helps. I would like to do a workshop for female founders and women through Blazing Babes on the art of bragging. Hopefully soon in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, let's do some cards. I hope that is helpful. And I'm going to end on this. Happy Tuesday. I love doing True North. I hope to be able to bring in some guest speakers. I want to give the entire floor. I want to do an intro and just give the entire floor to the guest speaker, especially somebody who's amazing. Before I go into my cards, I want to talk about this book. Speaking of the art of bragging, especially for women and men, And men. Okay, I'm also gonna say there's some men that need to actually speak up more about how amazing they are, because I know some of you. Let me get my glasses. But this is a great book. Actually, this book, I worked with a coach. I've worked with a couple career coaches. And I am doing a TEDx on for women. So women TEDx. There's the 3 that I'm doing, but I'm just getting dates. But one of them is about standing in our truth and talking about our strengths. But I think I mentioned it, and I think I might mention it in my is a reference point. But I not only did I work with a career coach from University of Chicago Booth School of Business, their career services as an alum, but I also hired a coach, an executive coach from a company, a startup called Tenshey, Tenshey, who's the female founder, who's a friend of mine, Maggie Chan Jones. She's a big executive in New York. She's a big CMO, and she is scaling her business. I don't know where they are, but she's amazing. And she has executive coaches that coach women, female executives. And I hired one of her coaches, this was maybe 3 years ago, to help me with my LinkedIn, to help me with my pitch, to help me with my focus, to help me with my story, to help me with meeting with investors and limited partners, and how to talk highly of myself, really helping me. I invested a lot in myself and in my own personal growth and my personal career, but about the pitch, my own personal pitch. But they use this book, which is the Strengths Finder 2.0 from Gallup. Discover your Clifton strengths. Don Clifton was the father of strength psychology and inventor of Clifton Strengths. I'll read the back. In strengths-based leadership, Gallup reveals the results of decades of research on the topic of leadership. Gallup scientists studied more than 1 million work teams, conducted more than 20,000 in-depth interviews with leaders, and even interviewed more than 10,000 followers around the world to ask exactly why they followed the most important leader in their life. Using these discoveries, Gallup identifies 3 keys to being a more effective leader and uses firsthand accounts from highly successful leaders, including the founder of Teach for America and the president of Ritz-Carlton, to show how each person's unique strengths can drive their success. A leadership version of Gallup's popular Clifton Strengths Assessment provides you with specific strategies for leading with your top 5 strengths and enables you to plot the strengths of your team based on the 4 domains of leadership strength revealed in the book. Filled with novel research and actionable ideas, strength-based leadership will give you a new roadmap for leading people towards a better future. So we can't speak highly of ourselves. We cannot focus on the art of bragging until we know what our strengths are and our weaknesses and how to do that and how to convey it. And I'm learning. There's an art. There's an art to talking highly of yourself, bragging about yourself in a humble way, encouraging others to do the same. There's an art, but this is a really great book. There's one of my industry advisors who I love. I love calling him out because I think he's an amazing leader. And he worked as an executive for Weber Grill, for Kraft, for Shure, for a bunch of different companies. And now he's actually helping people be great leaders through advisory, and probably has that book. Has probably read that book numerous times. But he brings humble confidence to the table, and he just gains so much trust with people. And I would love to have him as a guest on here to talk about this very subject. Anyway, let's do this. What makes you the happiest? Surrounding myself with people who are like-minded individuals, who motivate me to be better, who value my time, care about me, help me in my endeavors, pay it forward. When I give and I'm appreciated, when I give to others and I'm appreciated. When I give to others in general, but specifically when I'm appreciated. Makes me the happiest. If you owned your own island, what would you do for fun? I mean, I pretty much want to own Nantucket. What would I do for fun? I mean, a lot of water sports because I love the beach and I love water. I kind of want to do like, this is me. You know what I would want to do? I kind of want to be in Survivor. You know the show Survivor? Like I want obstacle courses, but I want to do it with, I want to handpick the people who are with me and like create teams, you know, like when you're a kid and it's like, you know, what is it? Dodgeball and you have two teams, two leaders and they pick the teams. Like I want to do that. I want to have an adult Survivor, like if I own my island and it's already set up. There's like, you know, stations and we have to, it's like, you got to go through the whole island. Maybe it's like a week-long thing and every day is a new thing. How amazing would that be? There's no pre-planned teams. You get a bunch of people, like everyone, and then there's two leaders. You draw straws for who the leaders are. Oh, it's like Survivor, but like for a vacation, for a week. And it's already set up. And you can't like scope the scene. You're just like thrown into the next like game. And you win at the end. Like there's a prize. Like Survivor. Oh, how fun that would be. What are the most fun rides at an amusement park? None of them. I went to Disney 18 times. I'm like, I'm going to sit here. You guys go. Thunder Mountain. I'm like, no, thank you. Space Mountain. No, thank you. I like Soarin'. I can't even handle the teacups. Pirates of the Caribbean, Small World. I'm there. Buzz Lightyear. You can shoot things. The Epcot, the restaurant, the Mexico with the pyramid. I'm cool with that. Which woman would you love to dress up as for a costume party? I mean, I've already done that. I dressed up as Britney Spears, you know, with the ponytails and the schoolgirl. I've done that. I also dressed up as Cleopatra. Oh, was it? Yeah. Cleopatra one Halloween. Yes, I've already done that. That's it was fun. Are you a better leader or follower? Leader. Yeah, I'm a leader. No, I don't follow. I don't like to follow. I'll learn and listen, but I don't follow. I stand on my own. What was the most confusing time of your life? Maybe 2017, 18, and 19. If you owned your own, 2020 wasn't even confusing for me. COVID I was like, I'm okay with this. I've got this. I've got a plan. I'm good. But prior to that, if you owned your own island, what I just did this. Wait, why is there two? Wait, hold on. Are you serious? That's kind of, hold on a minute. Oh no, I think that's weird. Here's it. What makes you the happiest? Did I do that one? See, I can't remember. I already did that one. It's weird. I got like a double question. All right, you ready? This is the girl power one, and then I have to go. What time is it? Ooh. Janine Lacar and Aislinn Livingston. In 1999, at the age of 9, they started Kids Saving the Rainforest, a nonprofit organization that works to educate people about the importance of preserving the rainforest and protecting the wildlife. The group has planted over 10,000 trees, built 150 wildlife bridges, and helped increase the population of the once critically endangered tiki monkey. Which animal species would you save from extinction? I don't know, the elephant. Later, guys. Happy Tuesday.